Meanwhile, reports this hour, the White House is now very close to putting airports on alert, particularly foreign airports. Here's why. Terrorists have reportedly perfected invisible bombs, so sophisticated that they're virtually undetectable. You can't find them. And retired Army Lieutenant Colonel Bob McGinnis fears they could be making their way here. Colonel, this is scary stuff because through traditional airport security, airline security, these, we're told, Syrian terrorist devices are invisible. You can't see them. Is that true?
Well, we'll find out perhaps, Neil. The reality is that a few years ago, a man by the name of Ibrahim al-Sasiri out of Yemen, of course, put together the underwear bomber and then put together things on cargo planes. But he also, at the same time, outfitted his brother Mohammed, inserted one inside him, and this guy tried to get next to the intelligence chief of Saudi Arabia, blew himself up, fortunately didn't kill anyone else. So there is that technology. The linkage, though, here is this guy is in Yemen. He's related to Nasrallah, the front that is now aligned with ISIL in Iraq, Syria, etc. So now that they have joined together at the hip, anything that belongs to one belongs to the other. And of course, we know that ISIL has plenty of money. It's starting to form what we would consider terrorist camps that will, in fact, given their verbiage, be used to train perhaps some of these hundreds of Western people that are part of their allegiance to go back home and create havoc, to include on airplanes.
So you and I have talked about this many times, but it always comes back to a fixation with aircraft, airlines, and more to the point, and the target seems to be those planes leaving Europe or foreign locales for the United States, that there does seem to be this invariable drop back, fallback to anything that flies and scaring the you-know-what out of folks.
Well, it works because, one, you don't have to pre-position people, which takes a lot of resources, and then pull the trigger, months or years later. You just put somebody on an airplane like they did in, Christmas of 2009 and threaten to blow it up. Fortunately, we stopped that one. But, if you can put someone aboard a plane and all of a sudden knock on the cabin door of the pilot and say, I'm about to blow this place up, you better call someone and tell them to do whatever. It's great for blackmail, and we don't really know how to detect this thing. Perhaps the best solution is what the Israelis do, and that's a very tough interrogation they put everyone through. I don't know if we're willing to pay that price.
And I don't know if we're willing to follow up on it not being a person. In other words, somehow like in Pan Am Flight 103 or Lockerbie, it's a suitcase or something. That's what they seem to be fearing as well. They're obviously not giving up the fight, are they?
No, they aren't giving up the fight. We have to recognize that this war on terror is going to last a long time. What's happening in Iraq and Syria, from Aleppo, Syria, all the way to the Iranian border, 482 miles, is a vast swath of territory. These people are already turning to Sharia law. They're already got tons of money. They have outlets that are all over the world. They're franchising. These groups are coming to align themselves because of this so-called caliphate they've declared. So we face some very tough times ahead. The Iraqis aren't going to destroy them without a lot of help from the outside. Certainly the Syrians aren't. I don't know who's going to go in there and wipe these people, off the face of the earth. I don't think anyone at this point has the stomach to do that, Neil.
All right, Colonel, scary stuff. Again, the administration is only considering this warning to airports here and abroad as an abundance of caution. They have no hard proof that these bombs are in terrorist hands right now and making their way to airports. They're just urging vigilance. Colonel, thank you.